Welcome to another episode of the Insert Name Here show, talking about geek culture, news, and lifestyle. What's up? You checking out your biceps?
No, I'm trying to tuck them away.
Alright. Just asking. Well, today, Terrence, we're talking about something which is a very sensitive topic for some people, alright? For many people, especially our fans.
Just this guy, that's all.
No. This is a big deal, alright?
It is a big deal, but it's just this guy.
Today, we're talking about spoilers.
Spoilers! Alright.
So, a little bit of backstory for our fans, alright? This is how it... You okay?
I'm sorry, yes.
Pull yourself together, man. We're professionals.
Let's do it.
We're on Channel 31. We're professionals, alright?
Okay.
A bit of backstory for our fans. This is how this discussion came up, talking about spoilers. I asked you whether at the end of Ant-Man, the Ant-Man film,
if there was a stinger. Just
After
to
the
clarify, basically, stinger, well, that's one of the terminologies apparently, right? It's just an end credit scene, like after the credit, post credit, there's a particular scene.
Yeah. So I asked you, is there a stinger at the end of Ant-Man? And what was your response?
My response was, yes, there is a scene from Civil War.
Now, that to me is ridiculous.
How is that a spoiler? How is that a spoiler? All I said was there's a scene from Civil War.
I go into the movie now with a certain expectation. Now, you've taken away some of the enjoyment.
It could be anything from Civil War.
Why tell me that it's Civil War at all? No, now I know that it's going to be something from Civil War. It could have been you're right. It could have been anything. It could have been it could have been a joke. It could have been something that was from... It doesn't have to be shot for the next movie. Look, to me, a spoiler is anything which diminishes the effect of a scene or a moment. It doesn't have to be the whole movie.
So I'm going to disagree in saying that I feel that wasn't a spoiler. If I was sort of saying, hey, and I'm calling it a spoiler alert right now because this whole episode is about spoiler alerts. If in the case where you ask me, is there a stinger at the end of Ant-Man? I said, yes, you see a scene with Bucky, with the Falcon, and with Captain America in it. Then I'll be like, whoa, wait, that's giving a bit too much.
That to me is almost
Civil War.
That to me is almost the same as saying that it's a scene from Civil War, because what else could it?
Because it could be anything. Civil War could be Tony Stark and Captain America talking. It could be Luke Cage and, you know what I mean?
Totally diminish the impact of that scene.
Not at all. You don't know what scene it would be.
But I know it's going to be... Now that you've told me this from Civil War, you've tainted my expectation of what to expect. I mean, that is a spoiler.
How do you know what to expect, though? I don't get it. How do you know what to expect?
Well, you just told me this from Civil War.
Yeah, but it could be any part of the whole movie.
But why tell me that it's even from Civil War?
Why not?
Because it's... this is just you trying to show off how clever you are and how much of a great insight. Oh, I just have to name drop that it's from Civil War.
But it's no big deal. It's just...
It's a spoiler.
It's a very high level... It's from this.
Nah.
It's from that.
I mean, look, it's vague.
There is no...
Obviously, it doesn't...
It's extremely vague. There is no detail in it at all.
But I know what it's... You're telling me that it's from the next movie. You're telling me that this is an actual part of the movie. This guy, man, Etiquette, that's a spoiler. But
it's not a spoiler.
That's the backstory, and believe me, you guys are getting the truncated comment, the truncated conversation that we had. All right, but that's the backstory.
Wait, hold on. Rod doesn't think it's a spoiler either.
Oh, yeah, because Rod, that great cinematographer Rod, who is...
Wait, what did Luke say?
What? I don't think...
He hasn't responded. Luke, you're supposed to tell us, dude. Did I spoil it by saying it's a scene from Civil War?
What? Well, you guys let us know. Like I said, a spoiler is anything which diminishes. What do you define? I've given my definition of spoiler.
You know what? I think it just depends on the situation. It depends on the scenario. If you were to turn around,
let's get into.
So if you were to turn around and sort of say, let's say for whatever reason. This is going to be a bit of a tricky one, okay? But we'll talk about this in a second. But let's just say, for whatever reason, I've never watched Star Wars ever. And I was watching Empire Strikes Back, and before the scene where, the reveal, you're like, oh, by the way, dude, that's his father. That's a f***ing spoiler. I'm sorry,
You're
I
going to
spoiled
beat that.
Yep. That's a spoiler. That is a spoiler. You told me exactly what the whole thing was.
Yeah. Now let me just put this out there as well for you, Terrence. Our mutual friend Rod. There we go. I'm naming names again. Rod says that there is a social. I can't remember the exact wording, but there is a time limit as to when a spoiler ceases to become a spoiler. That's something I want to talk about as well.
So I'm just gonna put my hand up and say I think it all depends on the situation itself. I don't think it should be a timer. I don't think it should be anything like that. But there is. I guess it just depends on how you spoil. So you have to put into scenarios for me.
Well,
you have to put into scenarios.
Well, like the Empire thing.
Okay. Good.
If you haven't seen, I'll use a better example.
No, keep on going with that because that's one of the reasons I actually pulled this example.
Well, that wasn't. Well, anyway, with this movie, right, with Empire, if you haven't seen the movie, is it socially acceptable? Is that the question that we're getting to?
No. So this is where it's really tough because this is where the time limit comes into play, right? Empire Strikes Back has been out for such a long time. Everybody knows that Luke is Darth Vader's son. We all know that. Well. Also, probably because Star Wars is one of the more popular.
It's been referenced. It's been joked about for
such a long period of time. So, I personally, and this is just me personally, I wouldn't take it as a spoiler. Only because I'm like, oh yeah, it's like what, a good 20 years old?
Yeah,
30 years old?
I still think it's 30? A spoiler.
20? 30?
I think the statute of limitations is generally for things is about 7 years, in my opinion. If you're gonna. And that's just a loose rule that I have. If you're going to release a Batman movie, if you're going to reboot it, you got to wait 7 years before the next one.
Okay.
Before the next franchise.
Okay.
7 years. But I still think that there is no time limit for these sort of things. You always should preface and say that this is a spoiler.
Really?
Even though Star Wars has been referenced in pop culture
constantly,
all the time. I don't know anyone who wouldn't. I don't know anyone who hasn't seen Star Wars Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
But you still shouldn't, because what if in the case of a kid who hasn't seen Star Wars, I'm sure they wouldn't know that necessarily that Vader is Luke's father.
A kid.
Yeah, a kid, like a 15-year-old. You want to introduce a 15-year-old son to Star Wars.
So make him watch it. What?
And before he watches it, I come over and say, I'm going to join you. Oh, I can't believe Vader's Luke's father. Oh, spoiler alert. Do I get a pass for that? Do I get a pass because the movie's been out so long? The movie's older than your son.
You get a run pass for that.
Apparently I do, according to some people. But look, I think there is no statute of... when it comes to spoilers, you should always preface it. Even though this has been referenced so much,
okay,
there should be a spoiler alert. It's the same as with... Have you seen The Crying Game? The Crying Game. If I tell you this... You probably haven't seen it, but you know the spoiler.
I don't think I have.
Spoiler alert for The Crying Game. The chick is a dude.
Oh, yeah, right.
So,
Ace Ventura.
You know that...
Ace Ventura references that.
Yeah. So, but even though that movie's been out for such a long time...
Yep.
I would never... Because that's a movie which I think some people may not have seen. They probably will know the spoiler. They probably will recognize the spoiler.
Right.
Same as The Sixth Sense. That's a fairly... the ending to that is pretty well known, even for people who haven't seen it.
Okay. But so, what you're calling out is actually calling out the reveal of specific, right?
A specific moment in the movie. It doesn't give away the whole movie as such, but it diminishes the effect of that movie. No?
I think what you're saying is right by saying like the main antagonist from The Crying Game is a dude. That's fair. If you said Darth Vader is Luke's father, that gives it away as well. That's fair. But
you think that's fair? You think if someone hadn't seen...
I think it's fair as in that is the spoiler.
Okay.
I guarantee, yes, that's a spoiler. But I'm sorry, but I still say that if I'm saying it's a scene out of Civil War, I don't see how that's a spoiler.
So what if Ant-Man spoiler here?
Okay.
And I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you had the sense to not say this. But if you told me that, Agent Carter's going to be in the first scene of the movie, that is a spoiler to me. Do you consider that a spoiler? The cameo of Agent Carter and Howard Stark.
Yeah, because I'm being specific on a character in a particular scene. I'm being specific.
You're being specific about that stinger, though. You're telling me that it's from this movie.
But it could
That's specific.
But it could be any scene for the next, what?
2
hours, an hour and a half of the movie of Civil War?
A cameo is... in fact, if I had any technological wit about me, I would bring up that in a previous episode where you actually said Chris Evans makes a cameo in Thor 2. That to me is a spoiler. Chris Evans, there's a scene, spoiler alert for...
Oh, yes.
Now, see, that to me is a spoiler. It's got nothing to do with the movie. It's got nothing to do with the
I
storyline
don't know
as
if
such.
that's a spoiler, because that depends on...
Write in, tell us if that's a spoiler.
I don't know. I don't know.
I agree with
I think
you
that's a
that
very grey area.
it doesn't affect the movie, the plot in any way, but again, you've diminished the impact
But it
of that
doesn't
scene.
affect the plot in any way.
It doesn't impact the plot in any way. But it's a spoiler, because you've ruined the enjoyment of that moment.
But it doesn't impact the plot in any way. Revealing that Luke is Darth Vader's son, or revealing that the dude from the Crying Game is a dude instead of a female, that affects the plot. No? It affects the fact that they're related, for example? Or...
Well, yeah, I mean, those were big plot points in the movie.
Yeah, right.
But still, a spoiler to me isn't just telling me how the movie ends, because come on, I can figure out the ending of most movies in the sense that, this is going to be, the good's going to prevail.
No, I still don't think it's a spoiler.
What do you think? Let us know if you think that Captain America 2 Thor is a trailer, is a cameo, whether that's a spoiler. What do you think about the scenario where if a book has been out, or if something is based on a book?
So we're talking about the Game of Thrones?
Yes, that was another thing that came up in the conversation.
Cool.
Game of Thrones,
I never read
the TV show is based on a book.
I never read the Game of Thrones book.
Did you know it was based on a book?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't. I didn't read the book or watch the show.
Okay.
But that's neither here nor there.
Okay. But
do you think it's fair game to because and I
this is where it's going to be a little bit tough, right? Because
I don't want to keep throwing you under the bus, but you recently bled out a Game of Thrones spoiler on your Facebook feed. Did you know?
I wasn't specific about it.
I wasn't specific. It's a spoiler, but that's the point. It's
wait, hold on.
This isn't specific. It's not saying this guy dies.
Yes, what I wrote on there was, oh great, so Game of Thrones has zombies now.
I don't watch Game of Thrones, but apparently that's a spoiler, because I guess the implication is that
I don't think it's a spoiler.
Well, you're suggesting that a dead character is going to come back to life.
Yeah, but in zombie form. But and one of the people that responded said, yeah, we knew that from the first episode.
Yeah, and one of the people who commented on your thing also said spoiler alert in a pretty in pretty nasty terms.
I don't think it's a spoiler.
But it's a spoiler, because now people are watching it thinking, well, this episode...
Let's get into...
No, then people are going to watch this episode thinking, well, someone's going to come back from... A character that we thought was dead, or a character that has died, is going to come back in some fashion. So you've ruined that moment for the...
Yeah, but you don't know which character it is. It could be any one of them. It could be all of them.
No, see, that's not a good attitude. That's spoiling the movie. That is the definition of spoiling a movie. A spoiler.
Wait. Oh man, I forgot my chain of thought. Keep on going. Sorry. I don't think it's a spoiler, because I wasn't specifically saying, oh, this person died in this scene.
Well, to me, saying that the chick in the Crying Game is a dude, or there are zombies, they're both spoilers. As far as I'm concerned, they're both spoilers. Thank goodness I don't watch Game of Thrones, but that is a spoiler. Going back into Game of Thrones, though, really quickly, it's based on a book.
Based on a book series, yes.
Yeah. And is it fair game if the book has been out for a certain period of time?
So the book has been out for a while now.
Yeah.
I haven't read any of the books, and this is where it's going to be a little bit hard, right? Because there are a lot of these people who has jumped on the Game of Thrones bandwagon, not because of the book, but specifically because of the TV series, and that's what's made it popular, right? So this is a very tricky one, because some people will say, well, the book's been out for quite a long time. There's nothing to spoil now. Whereas all these trend followers are like, oh, whoa, Game of Thrones is popular, let's just watch it now. And then, oh, spoiler, even though it's been out for years. So this is like the hard balance as to where do you go with this. Is it okay? Is it not okay?
I think to some degree there has to be you have to use some sort of judgment to it. But I think no way is Game of Thrones fair game, if you pardon the pun. It's not fair game just because the book has been out.
Right.
Do you know when the book was out by any chance?
No, it's quite some time ago.
Okay.
I'm pretty
just
sure
because the book's been out doesn't mean that you can then say. I mean, I think it might be fair to say that. Let's say you have no intention of reading the book. If I said to you in the book,
Go on,
if I said to you in the book, some guy dies, doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen in the TV series.
Correct.
I think
that is absolutely correct.
Is Walking Dead an example? That's another book that I don't, another series and book I don't read. But some people die in the book.
Yes.
They don't die in the.
Correct.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
So
yes, absolutely.
If you preface it that way, but I think in no uncertain terms should you be. You don't get a pass just because a book has been out for even my 7-year statute of limitations. You don't get a pass. So, now you look as though you remember what you were going to say.
I remember what I was going to say. On a side note of Game of Thrones, for example, right? We know that Game of Thrones, how many seasons has there been? 5 seasons now? Going on to 6?
That sounds about right.
Okay, so 5 years now. 5 years of Game of Thrones. 5 years. Number 2, we know that it comes out for us in Australia, Mondays. With me? Number 3, we know that the writer will always do these crazy bum bum bum, and you're dead all of a sudden. This is known, right?
For Game of Thrones, okay, yeah.
I
don't watch Game of Thrones again,
but you know that he
I've probably lost a lot of viewers playing that, but yep, go on. Yep. Don't get too attached to the characters is what I've been told.
Correct. So, is it not smarter that if you, A, have not watched Game of Thrones episode for that week, B, know that for the past 5 years, people have been posting things up, angry messages, happy messages, whatever it might be, on social network, you would stay away from social network until you watch the episode.
You're gonna have to be like that as well.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, but
I'm calling this out.
You don't get
no. You're right. You don't get a pass. You don't get a pass.
You still don't get to say that.
But the thing is, the risk of you getting spoiled. Getting Game of Thrones episode spoiled. It is known that people do this. So why jump on?
It's on you. Do you get
what I'm saying?
Yeah, that I will.
You're just risking it.
Yeah,
I don't.
It's the same as if you're watching a I don't know, a sports event or a I think a sports event is a good example. You know, like if you don't want to know, then don't go on social media. Don't go on Twitter or anything.
It's a no-brainer, right? You know that people are going to be writing about it.
You still spoil it.
No, don't get me wrong. Yes. There is going to be spoilers on there, but still, you just stay away from it and you minimize your chances. Yeah? Tell me I'm wrong.
Please, I'm right with you. You know, every time if I need to check my feed, I always squint my eyes and I'll try to read and just try to avoid seeing certain keywords. You know, but that's neither here nor there. Like the point is, there shouldn't those. It's all about spoilers. You're diminishing the effect of the scene or a moment.
I know one spoiler that I screwed up for you.
Arkham Knight. In the past?
Arkham Knight.
Now, where do you get up with that?
Wait, Arkham Knight. I completely spoiler. Alert.
Wait, no. We don't need to say. You don't have to spoil it for them.
I want to. It's fun.
No, see, I think this is the real problem.
No, on a serious note,
we're not going to reveal who the Arkham Knight is, are we? You're not going to reveal.
Well, you know who it is now.
I know who it is, but some people out there maybe haven't.
Wait, let me just call out that the only reason that I said it because I thought you didn't care about it because you weren't going to play it.
No. What I said was I was going to watch someone play it on YouTube. So as to give me that. I was gonna watch it like it was a movie.
What?
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you watch someone playing a game like it's a movie?
Well, not everyone has. Oh no, I wasn't gonna watch them play. Like I was gonna watch all the cutscenes and that sort of thing. So I was gonna watch the storyline. I was gonna watch it unfold in front of me.
I didn't.
Well, see,
I didn't realize.
I think ultimately this is the bottom line is that the bottom line is that you should know your audience. I mean, I'm very picky and anal about these sort of things. So you
Thank
should
you.
know
Yes,
better.
you just said it. So you're being anal about it.
Everyone, but you should know that. You should know that about me.
But you're doing extra anal than normal people. Saying Civil War scene is not a spoiler. It is not a spoiler.
Geeks around the world are throwing their popcorn at the computer screen when they hear you say that because it is such a spoiler. I'm telling you this. But
that is awesome.
The thing is, so I think the bottom line is that you should know your audience. My mom hasn't seen. If she hasn't seen Empire Strikes Back, then if I told her that Vader was Luke's father, she wouldn't care. But if I told your 15-year-old son, who was just going to discover Star Wars,
Well,
I'm
son,
sure he'd be unhappy
you were
with
born
that.
in the wrong era.
So you got to know your audience. And you should know that I'm the sort of guy who, even if you... I'm a big pro wrestling fan, okay? And I'm going to give a shout out to my buddy Luke, because he respects my, you know, how fussy I am with these sort of things. If I don't even want to know if a wrestling event or a pay-per-view is good, because that would taint my opinion of what I'm about to see.
Whoa, wait. So let's say there's a pay-per-view that just happened yesterday, last night, and
Yeah.
you haven't checked it out yet. And I was like, hey man, it's pretty good. That would ruin it for you? Do you think that would ruin it?
Not if it came from you, only because you're not as big a wrestling fan, and I don't know the way you think. Whereas if, let's say Luke said it was good, then to me,
it would ruin it.
To an extent, because it's...
How is it ruining it?
Because...
How is that ruining it?
Because I know what he likes, and he knows what I like. He knows what I like, and I know what he likes. So if the endings... Oh, here's a spoiler for wrestling. It's not real. So, if he tells me that it's going to be good, then either the person that I like is going to win, or the bad guy's going to...
But what if it's good for just a storyline, for the fight?
Well,
scene?
that's it. That's the thing about
You
Luke.
don't know. You don't know.
This isn't the Let's Praise Luke episode, but that's the thing about it. He will say things like the in-ring action was good, or he might say that it's the in-ring action wasn't good, or he might say watch for this segment. So it's, you know, so what I'm trying to say is that these people...
What he's trying to say is
should
he's
know
too
your
anal
audience.
about this.
You should know your audience. So from now on, if I'm asking you a yes or no question, you should just give me a yes or no answer.
Just don't even ask and wait.
I guess
Just
that's the
wait
lesson.
after the credits.
I guess that's the lesson. Don't ask this guy for any
Don't ask me.
For any information at all. What do you guys think about
Do you think
spoilers?
that saying, hey, at the end of Ant-Man, there's a Civil War scene, is a spoiler or not a spoiler? I'm actually, no, but legit, it's not a spoiler in my case, but legit, I'm actually curious to see what you guys think out there. So please let us know, comment in the comment below, or comment on our Facebook page as well.
Facebook.com/InsertNameHereShow.
know if it's a spoiler or not. It's driving us crazy.
It's not driving me crazy, because I know it's a spoiler.
Well, I know it's not a spoiler, times Rod times... Oh, no, I don't know about Luke, actually. You gotta ask Luke.
Yes, Luke's going to feel a lot of pressure now after all this. Guys, leave us a comment in the field below, like us on Facebook, and we will hopefully be back next week. Spoiler alert, we will be back next week.
See ya.